Hey, it's Austin here, and I wanted to thank you for checking out the Upswing Report. Upswing is all about fashion, business, and lifestyle tips for those of us on the upswing in life. If that includes you, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. All right, so I'm not a millionaire yet, but I have a lot of experience with starting up multiple businesses. I've been completely self-employed since college. Most of my businesses are relatively passive, where I have to maintain them and whatnot, but I don't have to go into an office every day or trade my hours for dollars. Here are some things that you need to keep in mind so that you can eventually start your own business and quit your job. The first thing is to just do it. You will never ever be ready. You just gotta face your fears, jump off the cliff, and build your wings on the way down. Now, I'm not saying that you should go right after this video and quit your job and figure it out afterwards, per se. That would be a great example of burning your ships. Christopher Columbus, allegedly, when he was going to take over different islands or different areas, he would literally burn his ships. So his men had to get off the ship and get on the island, and literally it was life or death. They'd either take the island or they would die. And be aware of the golden handcuffs. Again, if you're being paid a salary, you have that security, not only just financially, but also socially. You need to be aware of that and make sure that the golden handcuffs are not controlling you and your decisions to make the mindset choice to go and start your own business. All right, the second thing is to be around the right people. And that's one of the reasons why I started this channel, to hopefully inspire you. I'm not a crazy business guru or anything like that. I make mistakes. Nothing's perfect. So if I can do it, that means that you can do it too. And once you're around people, it's good to have people physically around you as well, but you'll realize that yes, it's really hard to do, but it's simple. And if someone can do it that's around you or you grew up with or somebody that you know started their own business and you start talking with them, ask them out for coffee and ask to pick their brain, then you realize, again, they're not some special person. They just put in the hard work and the time. And that can inspire you to realize that you can do it yourself. There's an example I wanted to read of Roger Bannister. He was a dude who was apparently the first person to ever run a 4-minute mile. And before he ran the 4-minute mile in 1954, there had been people saying that it was impossible, no one can do it. And he broke the 4-minute barrier and has since then been broken by many athletes, including people in high school. And the 4-minute mile is now the standard of all male professional distance runners. And in the last 50 years since Roger broke the record, that 4-minute mile has been lowered by almost 17 seconds. And the parallel here is Roger had the mindset that it is possible, and then people saw it was possible, so a lot of people then will follow suit. Now, again, being around the right people can help you do the same. All right, the third thing that you need to do if you want to quit your job and start a business is to be good at sales. I would argue that sales is the #1 skill that you have to have in business if you want to succeed. Because if you don't know how to sell, then you really can't grow a business. I used to be so afraid of sales. In fact, I remember the first client that I didn't get a referral from, that I actually went out, sought, and sold and closed them. After I left that meeting, I literally started shaking and crying in the car when I was driving home, which is pretty crazy and funny because I was so emotionally wrapped up and I had this basically barrier that I started to overcome, and it meant so much to me. And while I'm currently not any sort of sales god or anything like that, I've gotten a lot better as I've done more and more sales. It's something that you can always be improving on. Besides, even if you don't think that you should be good in sales, here's the deal. We're actually all in sales. Whether that's you trying to impress that girl, whether that's you trying to get a job interview or make a friend, or whatever you're trying to do, we're always selling regardless of if you realize that or not. I've got 3 quick sales tips that I think are super important to have if you want to get better at sales. The first one is to focus on believers and agnostics and ignore the atheists. Basically, that means that professionals sort, amateurs try to convince. And the thing is, if you're always out there, you're generating new business, you're talking to people, you're doing networking, you're not gonna try to worry about, oh, that guy doesn't like my business model, or that guy doesn't believe in these testimonials, or whatever you're trying to do. The reality is somebody out there will believe in you and pay you money for whatever service or product that you're providing. It's your job to not get too caught up in the people that aren't believers and just ignore them. Focus on the people that you can convince, or the people that are already believing, ready to pull out their wallet and pay you for whatever you're trying to sell. The second thing is to ask questions, don't pitch. So sometimes you'll get into this long pitch about, oh, this product or service, and then you'll realize that you said it in a way that doesn't really attack the problem that the consumer or the prospect is currently experiencing. So for example, let's say I was pitching a pen. I might start talking about the features, the ink color, blah, 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 blah. And if I would have asked the question to the consumer saying, why are you interested in a pen, or are you interested in a pen? They may have said, yeah, I'm actually trying to write a novel. So if they're saying I'm trying to write a novel, I can ask questions about the novel and get it out of them. So they're emotionally charged up because I'm solving a problem. And that's something that you need to realize that's actually what sales is. You're problem solving. So then I would start to say, hey, this is a great pen. It's really comfortable to write for the long hours that you're gonna be putting in when you're writing your novel. Ask them more questions about what kind of pens have you used before. So you're really just asking questions as opposed to pitching. And after you have the questions, then you can start to pitch a little bit, but you tailor it to what they want so that your product or service could be a good fit. And if it's not a good fit after you ask them the questions, you can literally just say, you know what, I don't think that you would be a good fit, and people really appreciate you for that, and that just makes you a much better salesperson and an entrepreneur. And the last tip I wanna say is face your fear of rejection and be bold and go for the close. So the more you do this, the more you do sales, the more you'll realize that, hey, it's not a bad thing to ask for the close. And you start to get more bold with your sales, and just by doing it, you get bolder and bolder, and that's really important. After you ask the questions and you figure out, okay, this person would be a good fit, ask for the close. Do not be afraid to ask for it, because if you don't, people aren't gonna automatically say, you know what, I'm gonna buy right now. Some people will, but you need to be good at getting the close. So that's the last thing I'd recommend that you should do in terms of increasing your sales skills. All right, the fourth thing that I recommend that you should figure out if you're trying to quit your job and start a business is to start small, but think big. You've got to be able to make $10 before you can make 1,000. You've got to be able to make 1,000 before you can make 10,000, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When I first started my business, I was like thinking, okay, I want to do this huge crazy thing, which is, again, good to have those huge mindset goals down the road, but you need to start small. Don't be afraid to do non-scalable things. So whether that's writing handwritten notes or going and stopping by and checking up on your clients and saying, hey, how is everything going? Eventually, you might be able to build a team and they can take care of that stuff. But in the beginning, where word of mouth and referrals are so important, make sure that you're doing the things that other people won't do. And realize it's gonna take time, lots of time. Nothing that's important really happens overnight. This is actually a good thing, because if you're willing to duke it out over that long period of time, whether that's months or years for you to get your business off the ground, that is going to be a competitive advantage over all the entrepreneurs and suckers that think that they can come in and start a business and they get all bent out of shape when things don't happen overnight and then they quit. That is your competitive advantage. So realize that you need to start small, but think big. All right, and the fifth and final tip that I have for you if you wanna quit your job and start a business is to get someone to pay you. No matter how small it is, get someone to swipe their credit card, give you cash, write you a check, whatever that is, go out there and get money. Because if no one is paying you cash, then honestly, you don't have a business. Sure, there are some exceptions to the rule. Snapchat, Instagram, blah, 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 a lot of social media platforms that want a user base before they monetize. But those, again, are exceptions to the rule. But any way that you cut it, if you're getting money from your customers, long-term, it means that you're providing value. So go out there and get some money. So there you have it. Apply the above rules that I mentioned and you will be your own boss in no time. If you found this video to be helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe. If you have any questions of anything that I talked about in this video, please, please, please leave a comment below and I will go through and answer every single one of them. Thank you for watching and sticking around to the end of this video. I appreciate you so much. I'll see you in the next one.